Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Are we good? Yeah. Cool.
Welcome to Friendly Lil Moshers, where we're going to talk about music, concerts, and shenanigans.
Woo! Episode 2! I'm Divya.
Two! I'm still
Yeah.
Savannah, and we're going to talk about concert etiquette. Mostly today. We might have a little tidbit on the Maine, since it's November 1st, so we just finished up the Forever Halloween ball.
That was yesterday.
Or tried to.
Yeah, that was a struggle,
was,
I think, for everyone involved.
Yeah. There was quite a bit of technical difficulties. I love everything the Maine puts out, but they had a hard time, and Kennedy's costume looked a bit like the old man from the Six Flags commercials, and I couldn't unsee that.
I fully thought he was naked for like way too long.
Mm-hmm. I just like tuned into that, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What is happening?"
And then our main man Guns was doing the pre-show, which again was interesting. He talked about Pioneer a lot. I didn't tune in for all of it, but the part that I did tune in for, he was like specifically talking about Pioneer for like a really long time,
which was odd.
And
it was a thing about Forever Halloween.
Yeah, I think it's just his favorite album, so he just wanted to talk about it, which, like, fair, I understand, but maybe not the moment for it. I don't know. Yeah, so I watched a little bit of the pre-show. Obviously, they played all of Forever Halloween in full. Then the first song they played after they finished Forever Halloween was Miles Away from American Candy, and I was like, are they just going to play American Candy all the way through now? Because that would be great. They did not. But they did play Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. They played their cover, which...
I'm not sure how I feel
Man,
about
I love
that.
Harry Styles, and I love the Maine. So that was like... I love that they did that. I do think it's a weird song to have picked, specifically because, like, it's such a summer song.
And it's a little overkill at this point. Like, it's a great song, but it's really been beat into people at this point.
Yeah, I think maybe they would have been better off picking something a little bit more Halloween-y. But they kept the spirit of Harry-ween alive, so I really appreciated that. Yeah, and then they finished up their set. They played Ice Cave, which I love. They improv that. I don't think they rehearsed it. So that was fun. And then I forget what they closed with, but I did not stick around for the Q&A after because I was really tired. So
it was really weird. So I caught the end, and then I caught the Q, and it kind of was a Q&A, but it was like weird clips of people I didn't recognize. I think it was other people on 8123.
Okay.
But I just like glanced at it and was like, I don't have the mental capacity for this, and I shut my computer.
It was late. Like, I know they're Pacific or like Mountain Standard or whatever time, but Eastern, it was like past my bedtime. So I might be outing myself as a grandpa, but like, it's fine, whatever. Yeah, so into concert etiquette, the reason for the episode. Savannah, why do we need a whole episode on concert etiquette?
Well, it's come to my attention that there are a lot of different types of concerts, and there seems to be a few misconceptions about what a pop punk or hardcore concert entails. Some people think it's like a normal concert where people just bop. Others think you're like just hollering out and punching people. Really, it's somewhere in between. But I think we just need to explain that, because there's some people that get really upset if you get a little bumped into, and those people are clearly normal concert goers. And then there's like the kids who are allowed to finally go to a rock show, and they just come in swinging, and leave with two black eyes and a split lip. So
Yeah, and then there's also like the people that are just there to have like a good time slash get way too drunk or high or whatever they happen to be doing and ruin it for everyone around them. So, you know, lots of different people go to concerts. Lots of people go to concerts for different reasons. But we just have some ground rules that we think everybody should be following just for, like, you know, safety and making sure everybody has a good time.
we also have a feeling that when we're finally allowed to go back to concerts, people are going to be a little rusty with their moshing skills and maybe need a refresher on how to behave and how to treat people at shows. So
we're just trying to keep everybody up to date on what they should be doing, in our opinions. Cool. So maybe we should talk about all the different types of people you'll see at a concert and kind of the different areas in a venue. Yeah, so obviously you have the regular people. And then you have the people that kind of got dragged there on accident. Or like, you know, like the boyfriends that don't want to be there, or the girlfriends that don't want to be there, or like the parents that are kind of just there to make sure their kids are okay.
There is a special place, I will note, for parents who are living it up.
They're super fun.
Most of the time, they're not having a good time, but the ones that do, like you bring your dad, and your dad was like this hardcore punk fan in his day, and you don't know this, and then he just loses it. Those dads, I'm talking to you, pit dads.
Dude, pit dads that actually pit are great. Going. Pit dads that try to protect their children by not moving, less great. Significantly less great.
Not great.
Yeah, so then you have like your moshers, your regular pit goers, your crowd surfers, and your barrier people. And obviously you can kind of like oscillate between all four of those options. You can kind of bounce back and forth to your heart's content. But I think we probably should start with the barrier people, mostly because I know the least about. Yeah.
It's in order.
Yeah, so
stage outward.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's not that much to say. I do know a lot of people who are barrier at pop punk shows specifically get really annoyed when there's too many crowd surfers, and I'm like, that's just something you have to deal with. They have to drop somewhere.
Yeah, the barrier people always confuse me because they're obviously huge fans and they really want to be up front and see their band, but they have to understand what type of music their favorite band's putting out and like what type of people will go to these shows, and they tend to get mad when there's crowd surfers or a mosh pit behind them. But it's like, you signed up for this. You don't have to be.
It's true. I mean, I think my first couple concerts, I always thought that barrier was like the prime place to be, and that's like why you go to a show early. Those are the people that are like waiting in line all day because they want to be barrier. As I started going to more and more concerts, I realized that like not only do you get hit in the head with crowd surfers like way more than anywhere else in the crowd, it also like hurts to stand there because you have to look like straight up at the band, and also the band's not ever looking at the barrier people because they're too close. So like if you want to be noticed by your favorite band member, like being barrier does not help you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I will admit I was a barrier guy.
I think everyone starts out there, honestly.
Because you think you're like, I'm in the front, it's the best. But then the more punk shows I started to go to, the more I realized that I would rather dance and not bruise my ribs. Yeah, dude, you get
super squished.
So,
like most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not proportioned well either. I'm kind of tall and lanky, so I got hit in the head a lot, but also
Oh yeah, if you're
crushed.
super
So
tall, you should not
barrier,
be barrier. Not only are you blocking everyone around you, but like you actually will get hit the most. And obviously like the security guards are super nice and they usually try to help with like crowd surfers and picking people up and stuff. But like you're still gonna get clocked in the back of the head by some shoes or something. Like it's just gonna happen. You have to deal with it.
yeah. At that point, you're almost like a blockade. Like these people are coming at the
Yeah.
level, crowd surfing up, and then you're just like this little speed bump at the end. And I mean, you can't get mad. Speed bumps are necessary, but uh,
No.
not the most fun.
So once you get past barrier, there's kind of like usually like a slight border of like what I would say normal people. And then it's the
Yeah,
pit, like the mosh pit or the circle pit or whatever you want to call it, as the group of people that are trying to just like slam into each other for fun, not for pain. If you're actually trying to slam into people for pain, you shouldn't be in the pit. That's not the place for you, or you're at the wrong show. Like generally, don't try to injure people.
yeah. There's a big part of the pit is reading it before
Yes.
you go
Yeah.
in. So some shows have older fans nowadays, and maybe the pit's going to be a little squishier. So you don't want to be, throwing bows. Bad idea. Um, Other shows, like, people are angry and they want to rip your head off, and have at it if you can keep up. But some of those shows, you got to also recognize your size in comparison to
Yeah.
these people.
Definitely like trying to assess, and obviously like depending on the lineup too. So like if you're going to I don't even know, like Mayday Parade, but it's like a heavier opener, the pit might be a little bit different. Or if you're going to a heavy band with like lighter openers, like the pit is going to change based on the lineup because different people are there to see different bands most of the time. Like I know a lot of people will just go because their favorite band is playing, even if they're only playing a 30-minute set. So like you kind of have to prepare based on lineups because it definitely changes the vibe of like who's going to be at the show and how the crowd's going to be.
For sure. I saw Have Mercy with
Mm-hmm.
Counterparts. Um,
Yeah.
Weird vibes there, will admit. But like the kids high as a kite trying to enjoy Have Mercy were not prepared for the Counterparts fans.
Counterparts.
The same thing. The same thing with Grayscale was at a
Ooh,
4 Year
yeah.
Strong holiday show at one point, and sometimes that show is very like I've gone and it's been just hardcore bands, bunch of
Mm-hmm.
local hardcore bands, and other times it's like Grayscale. But those guys are always going to be the Worcester
Yep.
hardcore
Yeah.
crowd.
I also
So
have to say, like, you kind of also have to gauge based on the lineup, like how active the crowd is going to be during certain bands. Like I remember we saw it was like Knuckle Puck Movements and like Broadside at Paradise, and like oh,
I
was it
think it
Real
was
Friends?
Real Friends,
I forget
but
who was on the tour, but oh,
yeah.
WithCon. I don't even know. Anyways, WithCon I think was also on that. But like Broadside and WithCon were like not. I don't even know. Like the crowd moved way less, either because they didn't listen to them or just weren't ready to bop. But then like Knuckle Puck came on and like it was like pandemonium. So you kind of just have to be prepared for anything, I guess, is like the point there. Um,
Yeah, this is where your two rules come in. Rule number one, party. So be prepared to hop in there and start a pit and have a good time if you want. But rule number two, don't be a dick. So if you try and start the pit and people are just not receptive, don't keep pushing it. Like, find your people to bop with and take it easy on the rest of the crowd because you want to have fun, but you don't want to ruin anyone
right.
else's
And
time.
some
That's
other tips that don't always come into play, but you should be prepared. If someone falls, please pick them up. Please make sure they actually get up. If you feel like you're gonna vomit, please get out of the pit. I think it's happened a couple times where I've seen someone puke in the pit, and it's not fun for anyone. Yeah.
Quite slippery.
Don't bring drinks
Pretty
into the
gross.
pit. If you're planning on holding something, it's gonna get knocked out of your hand. So just don't.
You can bring them, but don't bring them if you are planning to drink them. Like, if you're expecting to keep it
Yeah.
pristine in your glass,
Yeah.
not
And
the place for
then
you.
I guess if you're on the edges of the pit, you also kind of have to be okay with people bumping into you, potentially getting pulled into the pit. Kind of all of those things. If you're not into any of that, please just get a little bit further away than the circle. Because you're gonna be involved if you're on the border of it. That's just kind of a standard. So then I guess we need to start talking about crowd surfing, which is, I guess we can also, crowd surfing and stage diving. Obviously, stage diving only happens at places that don't have barricade, because you can't, that gap, they tend to not like it when you make it on stage and then try to jump off. That's when you get kicked out.
Yeah. There's I feel like that's another mess, is the security aspect. Reading security.
Yeah.
Definitely never be the
No.
first one up. I've made that mistake before, and sometimes your show is going to suck, and they're going to make you sit in the back.
Yeah, if you can avoid being the first crowd surfer, and generally, the first anything, try and do that, because you don't want to be kicked out right before your band goes on. That is never... we've never been kicked out, but we've seen it happen. So...
I've been with people who've gotten kicked out. It sucks. You paid money to see this band, you love this band, and yeah, not a fun time. Don't want to be there.
Yeah, definitely that. But as people who have crowd surfed, there are some tips and tricks on how to do it effectively. I do want to state that literally anyone can crowd surf, but you do have to read the crowd. So if it's a band that has a bunch of fans that are 12 to 15 and don't really know how to hold people up, I would recommend not crowd surfing. If it's 4 years strong and they're all 20 plus dudes that can totally lift you, go for it as many times as you want.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anyone can crowd surf, but also be respectful of the size of the crowd around you. I like to, if I'm not at least smaller than 75% of the crowd, I don't always feel comfortable doing it. It can give or take. It depends on how much you want to work at your crowd surf, which we'll also get into. But that's my rule of thumb. Some people do, I would say 50% is safe, but yeah, if you are a bigger dude at a state champ show, and a lot of the champs crowds are smaller girls, just be aware. Don't expect, you can try it, but don't be mad at anyone for dropping you, and don't expect them to get you up there. Yeah, I also will
say, there can be holes in the crowd too, so if you're seeing that, maybe don't crowd surf, because you're gonna get dropped. There's just no one to hold you there. So it is kind of like mosh pits. Gotta read the room, kind of figure out your situation. If you do get dropped, tuck and roll, tuck your chin, protect your neck. You don't want to get dropped. I have been close to dropped on my head before, so do your little turtle and hope for the best. If you can ask people that are good at giving boosts to get you up. So I've seen a lot of people, they get picked up by their legs, someone just barrel picks them up. And that's super uncomfortable. That's not the way to do it. Like if you can get someone to give you like a this with your foot and then you kind of climb on someone's shoulders and then go forward, that's typically like the best and most efficient way to do it. But I have seen people like literally just been like chucked. So
it depends on, I would say, the type of crowd surf you're going for. There's the traditional one that you see like pictures of. Insert picture here. That are like the people on their back just kind of getting moved with the crowd.
Okay.
The other type is what we typically go for, which is more of a crawl, and so definitely
crawl slash
the one
roll.
the boost.
I will say there is some rolling that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely prefer to crawl if I can because I can support myself, and this is where you can stray from whatever rule you set for crowd size. Because if you're just using people's shoulders and walking on them, it's a little easier than asking them to pick you up.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this one you got to be careful because you want to crawl, but you also don't want to kick while you're doing it. So it takes a little practice to not,
also
kick
general
back and donkey kick someone in the
hit rule.
face.
If someone kicks you in the face, you can take their shoe. I don't recommend it, but you can.
Pro tip, as someone who crowd surfs a lot and never purposely kicks people in the face, high tops are your favorite.
Yeah, you want something that
I'm a Converse concert goer.
I'm a Vans high top person, but you want something that's not going to come off your foot in case you do accidentally kick someone, because then they can't steal your shoe. Also, things not to wear if you're planning on crowd surfing: Doc Martens, high-heeled booties, slip-ons, slides, basically anything loose and anything heavy. You want to keep your shoes. You want to just be considerate of the people you're going to be climbing on top of, basically. Because I have been kicked in the face with both a Doc Marten and high-heeled wooden booties, and it is not fun, and I would not recommend wearing those.
Yeah, be respectful to if you're gonna crowd surf. Don't bring your drink with you. Don't have anything sharp like keys sticking out, and make sure your shoes are.
Oh yeah, and also don't try to record the whole thing. I've seen a lot of people try to like Snapchat or like just record them crowd surfing, and that is absolutely when you get dropped because you're not paying attention and you can't like maneuver it. So, and then you'll probably lose your phone, I would assume. So, wouldn't recommend that. Also, don't crowd surf if everyone's trying to record the concert because there will be no one there to hold you. Another tip.
Be careful if, obviously, if there's stage divers, you want to get up there and crowd surf, but try to, if you can, choose a line where there's no one stage diving off of. So when you go up, I try and go up right in front of the singer or, bass or guitar, because no one's really going to step in front of them when they're jumping off. So you kind of get a better path, like a clear path up. But yeah, we're big fans on the roll or the crawl. Benefits are you can, be facing the band and screaming at them.
Insert.
The points. I'm a big pointer. Insert meme.
Yeah, we have a lot of pictures of Savannah specifically, like crowd surfing. Like there are so many because we usually have a friend that's like up in the balcony or whatever, like taking pictures of the show. And so there's a lot of pictures of Savannah. Less pictures of me because I do it less frequently, and I also blend in pretty easily, so I'm harder to see. But Savannah with the hair and hair is another big thing I wanted to get into. Okay, if you're going to a concert, please don't wear your hair down if it's long. Like braided, like I know it's so trendy and everybody does it, but like the the French braids, like 2 of them, are like by far the most efficient hairstyle. Ponytails are okay if they're not super high. If it's like a low pony, that's usually okay. Buns are okay, but they usually come out.
Yeah.
Basically, just be aware of the fact that your hair might be in someone else's mouth and like face and general personal space, and it's also something that people like accidentally grab onto. So you do kind of want to contain it as much as you can. You don't want it flying around, because even with like the braids, like they're super messy by the end. People do accidentally grab them. Like it happens. Don't be mad at people when it happens, but also try and be aware of the fact that you can control some of that. So yeah, that's another pro tip. And if you don't know how to French braid your own hair, find a friend that does, because I do Savannah sometimes.
It's a lifesaver for all the shows. When Div moved, I had to find someone
Alternatively, you just like learn how to do it yourself.
I have it down in theory.
That's fair. That's fair. It took a while to learn how to do it. Yeah, so that's that on that. I have a pro tip for any POC out there who may want to be in a mosh pit, and specifically if you're darker skinned, don't wear a black shirt. If you end up on the floor, no one can see you, and you will have to crawl out of the pit. I have had to do that. It was the first time ever in a pit, too, so it was really terrifying. Because people do just fall over, and that hopefully it's not happening, but it does happen enough. You kind of want to make sure you keep your feet under you. I know that's weird advice, but like sometimes your feet get stuck over here, and then the rest of your body's over here, and you can't necessarily get up really quickly. So try and keep your feet under you. If you do end up on the floor, hopefully everyone's looking out, and you can get pulled back up. But if you can't, you just gotta crawl out. It sucks, but yeah, to the side sides. Or always to the back sides. Usually is safe. So that's just a from life experience pro tip from me.
If you
wear a color people can see,
need to get out of. If you need to get out of a pit too, if you are standing, the fastest way, I know you're going to want to like walk out the sides of the back, fastest way is up. So if you're not afraid to crowd surf and you really need to get out, that's
because they drop you behind.
You'll be dropped into security.
You just, like, circumvent everything, and then you can shoot out by the bars usually. And usually people are leaving because they need water or they feel dizzy. So yeah, and if you see someone that needs or like looks like they need to get out, like try and help them. Because the amount of times I've seen someone and then like nobody clears space for them to get out, bad. Also, if someone needs to tie their shoe, usually like a protective huddle, I mean always double knot, triple knot if you can, but if your shoe comes undone, people generally form like a little pod around you so that you can like get your shoe fixed. So that's kind of nice. That's a nice thing that people do. But again, if you see it happening, make sure you help, because we're all in this together, as they would say in High School Musical. So
and if you drop anything or if you find something, hold it up. Don't throw it. Don't be that guy. Just hold it up. Let people find it. If it's something important like keys or a wallet, bring it to security. Someone will need that.
Yes, don't be don't steal someone's car.
Drop keys.
I can't believe I even have to say that, but like, don't steal somebody's car because you found their keys. It's not cool. That's Grand Theft Auto, I think.
I think. Yeah. I don't know how that rule works if you find your keepers.
Yeah, well, you know. Not really found so much as like you lost it. Someone like ripped it off of your belt or whatever. Oh, but speaking of keys, get a carabiner clip and clip it to your belt loop or your belt, and then tuck it into your pocket. That's the best way to keep your keys safe. hands down, because it's attached to you. So, also, if you're buying merch, wait till the end. I know the lines suck, but like wait till the end, because otherwise you have to carry it around, and then you don't know what to do with it, unless you have a friend
Or
who can
if
like
you're
hold it for you.
if you're gonna do it, just wear it.
Because
You'd be that lame guy, but
I mean, I've also seen
just
that
do
people
it.
tie it, like if they're long sleeves or like sweatshirts or whatever, people like double knot it around their waist. That works too. If you're crowd surfing, you don't want anything hanging off of you like that. So like flannels, sweatshirts, try to keep that to a minimum.
If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna tie something around your waist, put it through a belt
That way
loop.
it can't get ripped off. That's a good tip. Basically, just utilize your pants as much as you can. Wearing leggings to concerts in theory is really comfortable, but like then you lose all the functionality of pockets and belt loops and anything else that can help you with your pants.
A side note for smaller pocketed people, we're talking to the girl fashion
typically
industry.
women's skinny jeans.
I've recently invested in some travel pants that have like a zippered pocket, a hidden zippered pocket, and they look like regular black jeans. They're a little pricier, but I can zip in my phone. Don't have to lose it. I also have a very thin fanny pack just for my phone that I put under my shirt. Security always looks at me funny because I have an empty fanny pack, but I keep my shit. So
yeah, I would also like limit if you have like a skinny wallet, like those Vera Bradley ones where it's like just your ID and you could probably put like a couple dollar bills, like 1 or 2 credit cards, anything like that where it's just like very minimal will usually stay in your pockets. Worst case, just like rubber band everything together and keep your ID in there so that if it does get lost, like it'll get back to you. But yeah, that's, you gotta work with what you got, and your pants are designed by the overlords of women's fashion, so.
that was a bit of a tangent.
I know
from
we got
crowd
really
surfing,
far away
but
from the point, but I feel like it's all relevant.
so many pro tips.
Some of them you don't think of until like it's happened to you or you've done it too. So like I haven't been to a concert in a really long time, so I like didn't even think of some of these. But then you start talking about it, and you're like, oh crap, everybody needs to know about this. We're saving your lives, people. We're saving your lives. You'll thank us one day.
Another thing, if you're gonna crowd surf and mosh, have a meeting place with your friends. Important. That show that Div was dropped, we were both knocked over. I was picked back up, luckily, and I was searching frantically for her, but she had crawled out. Set a meeting place so you can go find your friend and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, if you're going to shows with people, always look out for them, and B, always have that like backup plan of like, we're gonna meet by the bathrooms if we get lost or like separated. If you're going by yourself, typically people are super nice at shows. So generally they'll like look out for you as much as like any other concert goer would. But also just like make sure somebody knows you're going to the show. Have someone that like you can text if things go sideways and you like need to leave. General safety for any event, really. Yeah, I've only gone to like I think like 2 shows by myself. But I made friends at both, so people are friendly, even if they're only your friend for the show. Like, still really nice.
I've made so many friends that I don't know their names, but I recognize their faces.
Yeah,
like,
they're like your
show
pit
person.
buddy. Like you always run in. Like if you go to enough shows in the same city, like you'll start seeing the same people. Because typically we all like listen to the same bands. So there's like a handful of people in Boston that I'm like, I know you from the pit. I don't know your name. I don't know anything else about you, but I see you at every show.
And they do look out for you. It's a nice little culture. There's one kid who put my jaw back in when I fell stage diving onto the floor. It
Oh,
may
you're
have
gonna scare the
dislocated my
kids,
jaw.
Savannah.
Don't be like me. I mean, do be like me, but I don't know.
Another topic I wanted to get into,
It's fun.
because I don't think it gets talked about enough or even at all, is that bands often ask the crowd to do things, right? Like they ask, oh, like let's get a circle pit going. Oh, I want to see all the crowd surfers. Oh, start jumping. Okay, please don't ask for a pit and then immediately also ask for crowd surfers, because people will try to start crowd surfing from before the pit starts and then get dropped into the middle of the pit. And it doesn't work. It just creates a lot of chaos. That's how people get injured. Fans, I'm begging you, please don't do this.
When you say get up and you don't specify if that's a jump or a crowd surf, and then you got people jumping and crowd surfing, this is a problem. Just a blanket get the fuck up, that's going to do damage.
Yeah, dude, this actually was brought up because I was watching Water Parks is putting out their concert DVD, and they released the music video for Turbulent Live, which looks sick, by the way, but Austin was like, get the fuck up, and then ask for crowd surfers, and then ask for a mosh pit, and I was like, dude, literally everyone's gonna die now. Also, all your fans are like small girls usually, so I don't know how things happen in the UK, but like that would not fly in the US. That would just be chaos. Everybody would be on the floor.
It's like a black hole that forms, and everyone just starts like dumping into it.
Because when they ask for a pit, it like swells a little bit, so that barrier between like the actual barrier and where the pit starts like just decreases by so much, and then all of a sudden you're like, you have nowhere to go. So specifically Austin from Water Parks, if you somehow see this, don't do that. Please learn. Also other bands, if anybody else sees this, please listen to us.
Bands, a lot of times, it's for the music. It almost every time has been when a band is filming a music video that they ask for the crowd to get extra rowdy. If you love this band and you want to be featured in their music video, but you have never crowd surfed or like moshed before, now is not the time to do it. Everyone who's never done this shit before will try to do it to be in the music video, and it's gonna hurt everyone involved. So maybe like bands don't tell people it's a music video, or like people just doing it for the video. Don't do that.
Also, I've seen a lot of bands be like, oh, I want 2 pits. Please don't. That's also hard. Also, if you're gonna do a circle pit, like please motion the way you want people to run, because I've seen them start where people start running in opposite directions, and it just, oh man, I've seen some weird crap, guys. Please just don't do that. Also, this one is less common, I think, for the bands that I go see. Savannah, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Walls of Death, they're not that frequent at like your typical pop punk show. Once you get into like hardcore, I think they're a little bit more popular. But one time they did ask for a Wall of Death, and this pit was like kind of walled in. It was a very small space. So when they asked everybody to like part, we could only get like maybe 7 to 8 feet away from each other. And so when they were like, go, everybody just like walked, and it was very strange. So bands maybe read the venue a little bit and don't ask for things that are stupid.
Don't ask for circle pits in rectangular venues. Like, we're not talking like stage back rectangle, we're talking stage rectangle.
No.
Don't do it.
Also, if there are pillars. I know a lot of venues have pillars. Trying to navigate that, not super fun. Don't ask for weird things.
I don't know why I need to say this, but I've been to a couple shows on boats. Don't crowd surf on boats.
Wait. That seems so complicated. Like, obviously, it's a bigger boat, like one of those cruise shippy boats. But, like, does it rock? I feel like that's got to be really difficult. Like, just general, like, jumping would also cause, like...
Like, the pit itself was, like, a little rough, and, like, you had to... We packed in a good barrier to make sure that, like, there was standers on the edge that wouldn't let people go flying over. But then one man, a brave soul, tried to crowd surf, and we're, like, borderline having to stop the concert because someone's gonna go overboard. Just I don't know why you need to be told that. There's no... You fall into the ocean. It's not like you hit the ground. You
I'm
fall
just imagining,
into the
like,
ocean. Don't
the
do
news
it.
the next day. They're like, somebody fell into Boston Harbor from crowd surfing. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I didn't even think of that. Okay, so that's a good point. Very specific, but, like, it could come up. We don't know how they're going to do concerts in 2022 or whenever we get concerts back. So that was, like, all the advice that I had, I think. I think we covered everything. I know it was a bit chaotic. We covered a lot of stuff.
Chaotic good.
Yes. So, yeah, that's, like, the end of this episode. We might do a refresher course whenever concerts come back. Or just refer you back to this episode, because I think everything we said is valid. So, yeah, any parting words, Savannah?
I miss shows.
General sentiment, living through the virtual shows and concert tour, DVD tour things, and all that sort of stuff. Please follow us on I said LinkedIn. Holy crap. Wow. Business professional. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Links will be in the description. Handles will be in the description. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, because we're on Spotify. Interact with us on Twitter. Tell your friends about us. Tell your mom about us. We're mostly family friendly. Yeah.
I swear too much, but that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, so thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.